Attention! This makes absolutely no sense. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Zander's Facts.
Hello everyone, welcome into another edition of the Zander's Facts podcast. I am the aforementioned Zander, episode 6, as we are recording this the week of Wednesday, March the 10th. Holy cow, college basketball, oh my gosh, I'm just so excited. I got a screen in front of me watching college basketball, it's all over the place. I love it. We're going to talk about that here in a little bit, but remember, download, subscribe, rate, and review to the Zander's Facts podcast, everyone's favorite podcast, world-renowned, we're global. And if you haven't listened to our previous editions, last week we broke down the COVID relief bill, which is about to pass the House again. Joe Biden's going to sign it. It's going to be law. People are going to get their checks. Hooray. And then we talked about what was going on in college basketball, a preview of the conference tournaments. This week, I'm going to give you my predictions for the Big Six conference tournaments. How about that? I mean, come on. The big stuff right there. Previous week, we had Hillbilly on to talk basketball. We talked about Texas, all that stuff that was going on. Ted Cruz, all our friends. We had Emma Adams on the previous week, talked about football. I was watching some Champions League today with Juventus, and they lost. I don't even know who to. But I don't know. We'll talk about that. But we talked about the All-Star game with Hillbilly in that previous episode with basketball. That was on Sunday, and Team LeBron ended up beating Team Durant 170-150 with Giannis, who was the MVP. And it was kind of strange because usually the All-Star weekend is a whole big thing that lasts all weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. They have a Rising Stars game and a Celebrity game on Friday. They have the skills challenge, the dunk contest, and the three-point contest on Saturday, and then they have the game on Sunday. But this year, they didn't do the celebrity game or the Rising Stars game, but they did have the skills challenge and the three-point and the dunk contest, but it was all on Sunday. So that was kind of strange. So the dunk contest was at halftime of the game, and the three-point contest and the skills challenge were before the game, which was kind of weird because they were using the same court, but I think they recorded it it was recorded. Like, they didn't do it live, so they had time to move stuff. But I watched the first half, and then I watched the dunk contest, and then I got a little bored. I don't know. Last year was fun, but this year, it wasn't a close game, and I didn't really think they were trying. Anyway, I don't care about that right now. I care about college basketball conference tournaments. They're here. They were here last week, but the big ones are here. So here on Tuesday, the ACC began their conference tournament. And out of the Big Six conferences, they're the only ones who started Tuesday. Wednesday, Big East, Big 10, Big 12, Pac-12, and SEC, they begin on Wednesday. And I'm going to break all these down for you. But some teams have already locked up their bids to the tournament. So each team, I said this last week, each team that wins their conference tournament gets an automatic bid to the NCAA tournament, which is happening next week. Oh boy, and then we're going to have a huge edition of Zander's Facts bracket reveal. Oh my gosh. But Liberty from the Atlantic Sun, Winthrop for the Big South, Loyola Chicago from the Missouri Valley, Sister Jean. Those are just a couple of the teams that have already locked up bids to the tournament. So, the big tournaments start this week. And so let's start with the ACC tournament. UVA won the regular season. I know, but they're the 1 seed. So the top 4 teams in the ACC get double byes because the ACC is the largest conference. They have 15 teams. So the top 4 teams get the double byes. Those are Virginia, Florida State, Virginia Tech, and Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech sneaked in there. But Virginia Tech's in there too. I mean, how about that? And Virginia Tech's going to play. They're coming off that COVID pause. And the last time they came off that COVID pause, they're a little rusty. So, we'll see what happens. But apparently they've been able to practice together, unlike they were before they played Georgia Tech, which was the game they played right after the COVID pause. So I don't know. They will play the winner of the North Carolina-Wake Forest game on Thursday, the 11th. I think that's going to be Carolina. And if it is, Virginia Tech has not played Carolina this year, so we'll see what happens. Georgia Tech sneaked up to the 4th seed. They are on fire right now. They are rolling. Moses Wright was the ACC Player of the Year. They've got Jose Alvarado, and they would play UVA in the semifinals if they got there on Friday. Now, I don't really trust UVA. I know they were the 1 seed, but I think the media's been hyping them up all year long, like they always do. The Blue Bloods, they hyped up Duke and Carolina. Duke is 12-11 after their win against Boston College in the first round. How does that deserve an NCAA tournament? And that's what they're talking about. Give me a break. Duke doesn't deserve to go to the NIT, but they will. And they'll lose in the first round. But UVA has been way overhyped all season. The writers, all the people, the net. The net's kind of statistical, but Virginia Tech hasn't done very well in the net. But I don't trust UVA, and I think Georgia Tech is rolling. So if they meet in the semifinals, I don't know. UVA might be a betting favorite, but I might put my money on another team, the Yellow Jackets from Atlanta. For the ACC, I think Florida State is going to win. Florida State's the 2 seed. I think they're the best team in the conference. They've had some bumps in the road recently, but I love Leonard Hamilton and what he's done at Florida State. He's been there forever. We talked about his contract extension a few weeks ago. I think Florida State, they'll probably beat Virginia Tech in the semifinals if Virginia Tech gets there. And I think it'll be a Georgia Tech-Florida State championship game Saturday night, and I think Florida State's going to win. I don't think it'll be close either. I don't think Georgia Tech can handle them. Let's move on to one that starts on Wednesday. The Big East. The Beast. So in the Big East, the 1 seed is Villanova. Virginia Tech beat Villanova. But after Virginia Tech beat them, it looked like they were starting to get into a groove. Recently, they've struggled. I know they lost to Butler. They've had a couple bumps in the road recently. I don't know about them. They're the 1 seed. They'll play the winner of the Georgetown-Marquette game. I don't know about that one. We'll see. Creighton. So I don't know if you've heard this about Creighton, but their coach was suspended because he said something bad in the locker room. It was something about a plantation and, black players, and oh my gosh, it was not good. But he's back, and that's kind of weird. I don't know what's going on in the Big East. UConn is the 3 seed. UConn hasn't been good in a while. Early 2010s was the last time they were dominant and won the NCAA championship. But I don't even know what they're doing right now. So, if I had to go out on a limb and pick the Big East tournament winner, I would say UConn. Oh, how about that? That game is Saturday night, too. I think it's going to be UConn. Creighton, I have no clue. Their coach. Villanova looks cold. I think Villanova will get to the championship game, but I think they'll lose to UConn. I don't know. Maybe the women's team's success will wear off on them. I don't know. Moving on to the Big Ten, their tournament is in Indianapolis, which is where the NCAA tournament's going to be, the finals. So, I said last week that Illinois, they're a little overrated at 4. And then they beat 2 top 10 teams. So, don't listen to me. They beat Michigan. They whooped Michigan. Whoa, did you all see that game? They whooped them. And they beat Ohio State. Ohio State's a 5th seed. I don't know what Purdue's doing as a 4 seed in the tournament. Michigan's the 1 seed. Purdue's the 4 seed. Illinois is 2. Iowa's 3. And if Illinois and Iowa win their quarterfinal games, they meet on Saturday in the semifinals. So the Big Ten tournament championship is Sunday the 14th at 3:30. That's the game that leads into the Selection Sunday on CBS. So, that's a big game. And Michigan, I don't know about Michigan. They just lost to Michigan State. They lost to Illinois. I still think they're the best team. But, I don't know. Ohio State at 5. So the top 4 teams got double byes in the Big Ten tournament, too. Ohio State was 5. I don't know how Purdue's 4. I haven't heard of Purdue this year. Ohio State's 5. They'll play the winner of the Minnesota Northwestern first round game. They should cruise through that one, whoever they play. Give me a break. And I think they'll beat Purdue. Michigan would play the winner of the Michigan State-Maryland game in the second round. I think Michigan will win. I think Michigan will go to the championship. I think Illinois will beat Iowa in the semifinals. Iowa would play the winner of the Wisconsin game. Wisconsin would play Penn State or Nebraska. I think Iowa would lose to Illinois in the semifinal. I think Michigan will win in the championship. I pick Michigan. Iowa could be sneaky, though. So that might be a close game against Illinois. That semifinals are on Saturday, when a lot of the championships are on Saturday. So I think Michigan's going to win it. But that's probably the one I'm least sure about is the Big Ten, because I don't think they're as deep as people say they are. Rutgers is 7. Wisconsin is 6, Purdue's 4, give me a break. But their top of the conference might be the best top of the conference in the country. Another conference who I love, who I think might have the best conference in the country, is the Big 12. How about this? So the 1 seed in the Big 12 is Baylor. We talked about Baylor last week because they lost to Kansas. It was their first loss of the season. Kansas is the 2 seed. They came storming back. Baylor will play the winner of the TCU-Kansas State game in the first round in the quarterfinals. I think Baylor will easily win that game. The top 7 teams in the Big 12 have really separated themselves from the bottom 3. The bottom 3 being Kansas State, TCU, and Iowa State, who really haven't struggled this year. And the top 7 being, in order, Baylor, Kansas, Texas, West Virginia, Oklahoma State, Texas Tech, and Oklahoma. Oklahoma's the 7th seed, and they've done pretty well this year. But I think they'll lose to Kansas because Kansas will play the winner of the Oklahoma-Iowa State game. I think Oklahoma will roll through that first game, but they'll lose to Kansas. Texas plays Texas Tech in the quarterfinal. I like Texas Tech in that game. I don't really trust Texas and Shaka Smart. And West Virginia plays Oklahoma State in that first game, which is at 11:30 Eastern on Thursday in the morning. That'll probably be the best quarterfinal game of the day at 11:30 in the morning. But I like Oklahoma State. I like Cade Cunningham. Oh, man. I know West Virginia is the 6th seed, and they did really well. I like Oklahoma State. I think Baylor will beat them, though, in the semifinal when they play. Kansas would play Texas Tech in the semifinal. I like Kansas. So a Baylor-Kansas rematch in the final, which is Saturday evening. I don't know. I think Baylor's same old, but Kansas is on fire. But Kansas isn't playing at home. The Allen Fieldhouse, even if there's no fans, it just has an aura. So I think Baylor will come back and beat them. I do. I think Baylor's going to win the Big 12 tournament. How about that? Let's move on. Pac-12 tournament. Let me just tell you something. The Pac-12 is the weakest of the Power 6 conferences. Their top seed is Oregon. Their second seed is USC. USC probably has the best team. I'll watch the Pac-12 tournament because Bill Walton's calling it. But, I don't know. I'm not really going to go in depth on this. I think USC will win the tournament. And why? I don't know. That Saturday championship game will be after the ACC tournament at like 11 or 10:30 at night, Eastern. If you're out on the West Coast, you're all good. Final one here for the Power 6 conferences is the SEC, the Southeastern Conference. Alabama looks far and away the best team. Let me tell you something. Alabama will play the winner of the Mississippi State-Kentucky game in the quarterfinal. And, everybody's like, oh, they're Kentucky. No. Alabama will beat up Kentucky because I don't trust Mississippi State. I don't trust Kentucky either, but I think Kentucky will win that game. Alabama will destroy them, and then they'll play Tennessee in the semifinal if they can beat Florida. They will. Alabama's far and away the best team. I think they're going to roll through that championship. I think LSU will probably make it out of the other side of the bracket to the championship because I don't trust Arkansas on that side of the bracket either. So I think it'll be an Alabama-LSU championship. This isn't football. This is basketball. I think Alabama will win. Nate Oates has a really good team. Something could happen. I don't know. Maybe not. And I'm going to say maybe not. So there you go. There's the Power 6 conference tournaments. They're going on right now. So if you're listening to this and you're not watching college basketball, you need to turn on your TV and turn on college basketball because it's on a ton of channels. It's going to be awesome all week long. And then next week, oh my gosh, March Madness. And we're going to have the special exclusive reveal of Zander's bracket on the Zander's Facts podcast. And I'm going to have a special guest critiquing my bracket. You will not want to miss it. So turn your notifications on Wednesday morning, 2 a.m. Well, maybe not that early, but make sure you're listening to the Zander's Facts podcast next week. It's going to be awesome. And make sure you're listening this week because we have a special guest. The Awesomeness is here. That's the title of the episode. And Amy Awesome is going to join me here on the Zander's Facts podcast. We talk about life, earthquakes, whatever, all this stuff, basketball, movies. It's all there. And Amy Awesome, of course, is as fun as ever. So here we go. We continue on the Zander's Facts podcast as Amy Awesome joins us. Here we go.
Zander's Facts.
All right, y'all, let's take a minute here to talk about my good old buds at Instacart. Instacart will set a personal shopper out to deliver your favorite products from local stores to your door in as fast as an hour. I mean, come on, how about that? Plus, you can choose from a ton of stores around you to always get what you need. Instacart helps you to find the best deals on all the things you usually buy and will give you smart suggestions for new items you might like. So what are you waiting for? And now, through Sunday, March 14th, you can get $20 off your first order with the $50 minimum purchase. I mean, how about that? All you have to do is use the link in this episode's description, and when you're ordering, enter promo code NEW20OFF. That's NEW20OFF, NEW20OFF. Plus, if you're a new customer, you can get free delivery on your first order above $35. But you only have until Sunday, so use the link right now to get $20 off your first order over $50. Promo code is only available in the U.S. for new customers only, can be used with any retailer and non-stackable, but can be used on top of free delivery on your first order offer. So go shop without even leaving your home with Instacart today.
Zander's Facts.
Amy Awesome, how are you?
I'm good, Zander. How are you?
I'm amazing! Oh my gosh!
And so factual.
It is Facts, Zander's Facts podcast. So what's going on in life?
Well, the sun came out and I went hiking.
Really?
Hiking.
It was pretty cold today, though, right?
It was. It was
Oh,
nice and chilly.
Well,
The mud was frozen. It like went under your feet.
ew.
Yeah, it was cool.
Ew. Well, a couple days it's going to be like 70 degrees here. How about
No.
that?
Really?
It is.
I had no idea it was going to get that warm. It's only March. Surely to heavens it's going to snow again.
Well, probably.
Oh, heck yeah. Look at that. Look at all those
67.
sunshines.
And
Oh,
sunny.
my goodness.
Wow.
I'm going to play hooky from work. Like, there is no reason to be inside.
Next Monday will be 35. So there you go.
All right. Well, that's good.
That's when the
Maybe
snow.
it'll snow.
I don't
No,
know.
it was awesome. Thanks for asking. How was your day?
Basketball. Oh my gosh! March Madness! It's back. I don't know if you saw this, but the Houston-Memphis game. Okay. 9 seconds left. Memphis takes a crazy... They're down 3. Memphis takes a crazy 3, and it's, like, terrible. But they get the rebound. Go back out. 3. They hit it with 1.5 seconds, and they tie the game. So then Houston calls a timeout. And Houston's like the 9th seed, and Memphis is unranked. And so then... And it's at Houston. And so then Houston has to inbound from the opposite side. And so they pass it to midcourt. Guy catches it, turns around, shoots it from like half court, banks it in.
Wow.
No time left. They win the game.
Oh
March
gosh.
Madness!
That's amazing. No, I completely missed that.
Well, you don't watch basketball.
I know, but that sounded really exciting. Like they should.
It is exciting.
Can it just be like a bunch of exciting moments? Like, can they?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
That's all March Madness. Have you seen... Like, you can go on YouTube and find exciting March Madness moments from, like, a year. And it's, like, 20 minutes long. Who do you think's going to win the championship this year?
Who's in the championship this year, Zander?
Well, there's 68 teams
Right.
that we don't know yet because that comes out next week.
So we're not even down to 12 or whatever it is. What does it do? 68 to
68 in the first weekend, and then 'cause they have the first 4.
Okay.
So then there's 64.
Okay.
And then there's the 64 main ones. And then the next weekend they go down to 16 because the first weekend they have 2 rounds. So they
go
have
from 64 to 16.
Yeah, so they have
Sweet 16.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
So they have the first round, which is Friday, Saturday, and then the second round is Sunday, Monday.
Mm-hmm.
And then they go to the next weekend where they only have 16. And then after the Sweet 16, they go to the Elite 8. And then if you win in the Elite 8, you go to the Final 4.
Got it. I've actually been to one of the games in the Final 4.
What?
When they played in Richmond, I guess it was VCU. When they were wherever, I don't know if VCU was playing, but I think that's where the stadium was. This was years ago. I was in high school.
Oh,
Like,
long
years ago.
time ago.
Oh, way long ago. So, but I have no idea who was playing, and no idea, of course, who won, since I don't know who was playing. But
I remember VCU was in the Final 4. It wasn't that long ago. It was 10 years ago, maybe. And George Mason was in the Final 4?
Really? Oh, I didn't know that.
That was 2006, I think.
Oh.
Or maybe it wasn't. Xander's Facts. And then
Check that fact.
UVA was in it.
Oh.
They won the whole... We're not going to talk about that. But this year, Virginia Tech's going to go.
Oh, they are?
They might. If they ever get off the COVID.
That'd be pretty cool, though.
If they don't get off the COVID, they might have to forfeit their NCAA games.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, they can't play.
Well, they're not playing at all right now?
No, they were supposed to play Saturday. That got canceled
Oh.
because they had contract tracing. So they're going to try to play Thursday in the ACC tournament.
Mm-hmm.
But if they don't do that... So, if they don't do that, they forfeit the ACC tournament.
Oh.
But they can still play in the NCAA tournament. But that's the next week. So they probably won't still have issues then because they've been having them for a month. So in the ACC tournament, there's 4 teams who get a double bye.
Okay.
To the top 4 teams.
Mm-hmm.
So, and this is the first time ever Virginia Tech's gotten a double bye in the 17 years they've been in the ACC.
That's a fact.
Wow,
Not even
when they had Buzz Williams. That's a Zander's fact.
It is a fact. So the last time they played was the end of February?
They played Georgia Tech. So they had a COVID pause, and then they played again. They played Georgia Tech, and then they played Wake Forest.
Yes.
And then they were supposed to play Louisville, but then they found out there was contract tracing issues. So the tournament starts on Tuesday the 9th.
Oh.
Because that's the worst teams play on the first day.
Sure.
And
Get
then,
them out of the way, like organic chemistry. Just get it out of the way.
well, yeah, but then the ones who win go on to the second round.
Mm-hmm.
And then the quarterfinals are Thursday, so Virginia Tech plays Thursday.
Gotcha.
And UVA won the regular season title, so they have the 1 seed. And Tech has the 3 seed.
Mm-hmm.
And Florida State has the 2 seed. And Georgia Tech has the 4 seed. How about that?
Oh, wow.
Sneaky Yellow
Okay.
Jackets.
Okay, yeah, so they're 3. Good
Yeah,
job.
and they have the 9 o'clock game at night. So, of course, the latest game. So that I can stay up on a school night and watch them lose, probably.
It is such a trial for you. It must not be easy being
It
you,
is.
Zander.
No. Those NBA games, the West Coast games that start at 10:30, they end at 1.
Yes, I used to live on the West Coast.
Well, Hawaii and Alaska are even worse.
Yes, it's true.
So right now it's 5 o'clock p.m. on the East Coast. It's noon there.
Well, I have a friend in Hawaii right now. I could just ask her what time it is.
Oh.
Or I could ask the Google.
I could ask the Google.
You know, the Google knows. Let's see. So, have you been to Hawaii?
I haven't.
I wanna-
That's why I don't know what the time difference is.
It's 5 hours. It is 11:51.
Oh.
Yes. There you go. And they actually were at the beach when the earthquake
Oh,
hit,
yeah.
and they evacuated them, and they thought they were going to have to leave.
So
the
you
island.
know someone in New Zealand,
In
right?
New Zealand, yeah, my friend Margaret.
And they haven't had any COVID issues at all. So they get payback now with the earthquake.
Yeah, they were on a sailboat when it happened, but
Wow. So, they didn't feel
nothing,
it then.
Yeah, nothing happened.
No?
But they did get pulled into shore and then told everything was fine and go back out. But they
Oh, yeah.
had no problems with COVID. They did their shutdown really, really hardcore in the beginning. So
Yeah.
nobody could do anything, and you always had to wear a mask, and you had to be checked into things. They would check to see how far you would drive. Like if you were in the car, who are you going to visit? Are they within a certain radius of you?
Oh.
And who they were in your family. And the offices shut down, but now they're fine. They
Yeah.
have 3 random cases that they locked down pretty quickly in Auckland. But yeah, they have no...
That's insane.
COVID issue.
Three random cases
Yeah.
in the biggest city in New
Yeah.
Zealand. Well, they're an island, though, so they can do that.
Indeed, they can.
We couldn't do that in the U.S. because we've got land, and we've also got people who believe that would be socialism. So you can't do that.
It's true. And their rules that would be imparted upon them are just completely unfair and unreasonable.
I mean, if you're complaining about Dr. Seuss right now, I mean, can you imagine what's going on here?
Yes. The
and now
people
they're
in
fine.
New Zealand actually said, you know what? It's a good idea that we don't spread this virus.
Oh, really? We should wear masks!
We should. We should wear masks and not congregate in groups. And that's what we should do.
Wow. How about that thinking? Oh,
Yay, New Zealand.
New Zealand. So they had, what did they have, like 3 earthquakes that did that? And they had the tsunami warning, but it never happened?
Correct. I only had 2 earthquakes. Was it 3?
Oh. I heard 2 or 3.
Oh, okay.
But because I'm thinking about Iceland too. Iceland's had thousands of earthquakes, I think, in the past few weeks.
That's
Have you heard about
disturbing.
that?
No. I haven't heard about it at all.
Well, Iceland's like that little island.
Yeah.
So and they've got a volcano there too that's apparently about to erupt.
Calling it a swarm,
Well, something's going on.
that doesn't bode well. I mean, do you think that's an environmental shift? Like global warming?
It's a hoax. China brought global warming hoax and the coronavirus. How could they? I didn't know it was that many. I said thousands. I didn't know it was 20,000.
That's crazy. Oh, 5.7 magnitude. Interesting. I mean, that's pretty decent.
Yeah.
They're not just whistling Dixie over there with that kind of shake.
Have you been through any earthquakes?
Evidently, there was one a couple years ago that my parents felt more in Richmond than we felt in Abingdon. But I remember it.
The Louisa County one, like 2013?
No, I was still in Seattle. It
Oh.
must have been, it was 2017?
Oh, okay.
Something like
No.
that?
Oh, maybe there was.
Maybe 18?
The only one I remember was 2013, because I was in 3rd grade.
Did y'all have to get under your desks? What happened?
No, we didn't know what was going on. That was the one that cracked the Washington Monument, though.
Oh.
And, like, it's still not ready to go. We usually don't have them here in Virginia.
Sure.
Or the East Coast. That's like California thing.
Very much so.
Like the week I was in California that couple years ago, apparently there were tons of earthquakes that were happening right under me. But you can't feel them, though. Because I went out to part of the desert where, you're standing on the, what's it called? San Andreas Fault.
Mm-hmm.
And there's always little shifts going on,
Something
but you don't feel them.
Yeah, I had a friend who went through the big one in California.
What's the big one?
It was, late 90s, wasn't it a big earthquake in California?
I don't
I
know.
think that's right.
I remember one, it was like early 1900s maybe, in San Francisco.
Yes, there was that one, but there was one
Okay.
more recent.
I don't remember this one. I also wasn't alive during this one.
Of course, then there was a really big one in 92 as well. A couple of them.
Yeah.
Anyway, I just remember my friend telling me about it because her whole apartment was shaking, and that's when she decided to leave California.
Sanders facts correction. The big Virginia one was 2011.
Ha-ha!
So that's when I was in 3rd grade.
You're a liar!
Correction.
Yes.
Correction.
August 23rd.
Oh.
So that was like the first week of school I was in, and we had an earthquake.
It's a good start.
Well, so my brother was not in school because he was in, because it happened in the afternoon, and he was in morning preschool. And so he was playing the Wii inside with my mom, who was like, "We gotta get out!" And so she went outside of the house. He stayed in there playing the Wii. Nothing happened, but
Gee, that's
like in a
fire and
house,
force for him.
like stuff was shaking,
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, like stuff that's hanging in dishes and stuff. Bobby, what do you remember about the 2011 earthquake in Virginia?
I was in my office. It was shaking.
I walked
walked out of my office, and just as I did, everybody else walked out of their offices
And look at
and
each other.
said, "What the is that?"
Blue button.
Did things shake on the wall?
Yeah. My chair shook. The books on the shelves, they all shook. But I was on the 3rd floor, so you feel it more when you're up high. And then I called Grammy to, make sure everything was okay over where she was. So I called, it rang. She said, "Hello?" I said, "Hey, Grammy, you okay?" "Yeah." "Did you feel it?" "Feel what?" "The earthquake." "What earthquake?" She was like in the basement of her church or whatever.
Oh.
Well, Hillbilly wasn't he? Didn't he say he was walking downtown Richmond and he didn't feel it?
Yeah, he didn't feel anything. He said he was in the street and he got into the building where he worked and everybody was panicking. He was like, "What's going on?"
Oh. But yeah, that massive one you were talking about in the early 1900s. Sure.
Yeah, like it took down buildings in San Francisco, I think.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
it was pretty bad.
Yeah.
But
I should show you the movie.
There's a movie.
Oh yeah. It's a great movie. I showed it to Amy.
Is it real? Real
No,
footage
It's,
or fake?
it's got Clark Gable and Jeanette McDonald.
I got a movie about an earthquake for you. Ever heard of San Andreas? It's got The Rock.
No, but this one's really good. I mean, it's got like cool music and stuff like that. And then, the story is good enough that when the earthquake happens, you're like, "Oh yeah, there's an earthquake coming."
That's like, I heard what is it? Yosemite, or
Yeah.
if that goes off, like the whole population of North America could be wiped off.
Oh my gosh, this is a happy topic.
Well, that's what we came into. I don't know. Xander's facts.
It's true. It's a fact.
It's a fact.
It's a fact.
That'd be pretty bad, though. But apparently, it erupts, what is it, every thousands of years or so? And we're well past due.
Well, that would make sense.
That'd be bad. What would happen to Joe Biden?
Oh my
I'm
goodness.
sure he could blamed.
If he is fault.
I mean, don't they have, a designated survivor, or is that just a TV show?
That was a TV show that I thought was a okay TV show.
Oh.
But I think it's real. Did you watch that show?
I watched a few episodes.
I watched. It was on 2 seasons on whatever channel, and then it went to Netflix. Then they got a lot more cursy because it was on. I guess it was ABC, I think, and you can't, really curse on broadcast television.
No, that's Family Network television. You can't do that.
But they go to Netflix,
And all bets are off.
then they get cutthroat. Like, imagine if West Wing was on Netflix instead of NBC.
Oh, wow. Yeah. I mean, this is why Veep was not on broadcast television.
It was HBO.
Exactly. That's why Veep was where it was.
Well, that was, it wouldn't be the show it is without all that HBO level stuff.
It's true. It was so good.
That transitions us into a new topic.
Uh-huh.
It's a new game we're playing on Xander's Facts called What Are You Watching This Week?
Whew. This week.
Well, or recently. This week or recently.
Got it. This week or recently.
Or in the future.
Well, we are watching Boardwalk Empire because we are behind the times, but it's really good.
What's Boardwalk Empire?
Oh, it's about the bootlegging in when the Prohibition was happening in the early 1900s, like 1920 stuff. So it's really, really fantastic. It's on HBO. If you have not checked it out, I absolutely recommend it. And I watch...
Give me a break.
I know. I'm watching Game of Thrones again.
Like, you already saw it
I've
the first
seen the
time?
whole thing, and I'm rewatching it and catching all the stuff that I kind of missed because there's so much happening in Games of Thrones, and there's so much. You kind of almost get distracted by the scenery sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm watching that again.
Well, there are a bunch of shows you can watch over and over again, and every time you'll find new things about it.
I love it. It's
Well,
so good. So good.
If you watch them or if you catch like the Reddit boards or the messages and see what people are, and then you go back and see, oh, that is there.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I do with The Office.
No, those kind of things are awesome to watch over again. I still, watch Parks and Rec and.
Oh my gosh,
all that
that's a great show.
You
Did
know?
you see? What was it like in May? They did that reunion one over Zoom.
No, I haven't seen it, but I heard about it. Like I saw it on social media.
I mean, it wasn't.
Was it good?
It was okay.
Yeah.
It was the Zoom reunion COVID special. What do you expect?
Yeah.
I watched this show on HBO called, I don't know if you saw this because it came out last year, I think. The Plot Against America.
No, I haven't seen it.
It's about it's during World War II, but before the U.S. got in it. So it takes place during the 1940 election, and FDR loses to a Nazi sympathizer. And so then the U.S. and Germany become allies. And it centers around this Jewish family in Brooklyn, and bad stuff happens to them.
Wow. Well. But it's good. You like it?
It turns out okay.
Okay.
Well, spoiler, but spoiler. It doesn't
Spoiler: not everyone dies in the series.
No.
Yeah. Okay.
I guess it's a limited series, so I guess they stopped after like 6 episodes.
So Plot Against America. No, I haven't checked that out yet.
That's on HBO.
Okay. I'm in.
I guess I'm watching The Office again.
You guess.
All my regular shows that I watch during the season. The shows that are on like network TV.
Yeah.
911 is a show on Fox that does COVID. Those are like first responders. And they do all the COVID
well,
stuff.
that makes sense. That
So
they would
there
be
you go.
responding with COVID mentality.
I'm watching SpongeBob too. SpongeBob is a show anyone can watch and laugh at. Because the jokes are there for the little kids and the grown-ups too.
And the adults too. You are correct. Yeah.
Those Nickelodeon shows. Like iCarly. I'm watching iCarly on Netflix right now again. That's a good show.
I watch Henry Danger sometimes.
Henry Danger came on while I was getting out of that phase.
Gotcha.
But I saw like the first few seasons.
My friend Mike's on it.
Oh.
He plays the evil dude.
Friends.
Yeah.
The evil dude.
The eagle with the English accent.
I don't remember. I haven't seen
Doctor or
that.
something.
I don't know if that's on Netflix. I know they have that whole new streaming service that has all the Nick stuff.
Right.
Which I don't have. So I ain't gonna deal with that stuff.
There's something I was watching on Hulu. I think I probably have to look it up. Sometimes I don't remember titles.
Did you see that movie Palm Springs on Hulu? Is that what it was called?
There's a movie, but I haven't seen it. Did you watch it?
I saw it because everyone was talking about it. It was okay. It was like where they're at a wedding in Palm Springs and they go out to the desert and like every day it's like happens again.
Like Groundhog Day?
Yeah.
Oh, in Palm Springs.
Mhm.
So Groundhog Day in Palm Springs.
Yes.
Okay. Awesome. No, I didn't know about that.
Somehow they get out of it. I don't know.
How is
Spoiler.
coming to America?
So right now we saw the first half of it.
Gotcha.
And it's been a couple years since I saw the first one. But it's better than expected.
Cool. I love the first one.
Oh yeah, the first one was amazing.
It's pretty great.
They do have barbershop scenes.
Nice.
So
Those
I
are
mean,
good ones.
yes.
Oh.
I mean, they're all 30 years older.
Yeah.
But it's
Which
still-
probably makes the characters even better.
Oh yeah. Well, they get into all the current stuff happening, like not COVID,
Yeah.
but 2020 stuff.
Oh, they do?
Yeah.
Oh, great. All right.
So, because it's like gentrified New York City, whatever.
Right.
But that's their takes on current issues.
Nice.
So.
Oh, I'm definitely gonna have to watch that then.
But we haven't finished it. But it's been pretty good so far.
All right. Okay, I need to put that on the list.
There's a new SpongeBob movie too that I need to watch.
What is that called?
Sponge Out of Water? I think so. Sponge on the Run?
Sponge on the Run. Please
No.
let it be Sponge on the Run.
I think there was one a couple years ago that was Sponge Out of Water. Now I think it's Sponge on the Run.
As long as he keeps his pants on.
And it's like, and on that new streaming service I was telling you about, they have a new SpongeBob show, which is a prequel. So it's like when they were
Whoa. They're
kids.
prequeling
Yes, they are.
SpongeBob
Yeah.
when they were kids. So they all just little tiny versions of themselves?
At a camp. I think it's called Camp Coral.
All right, I'd watch that. I would. I'd watch
And it doesn't look anything like it. So it's 3D. All new graphics.
But
because the one they have, they still use the same stuff they did like in 2000 when they started it.
Well, then why prequel it with new technology?
Well, that's what they did.
Come on!
I don't know. I haven't seen it though.
Already disappointed. No, I'm just kidding.
You can watch it though.
I probably will. I like SpongeBob. There's a
Who doesn't
Broadway
like
musical.
SpongeBob?
SpongeBob.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Have you seen it?
No, I have not.
They have Broadway musical and everything.
Pretty much.
What's your favorite Broadway musical?
Oh my gosh.
On the spot.
Oh dear heavens. Wow. I don't know. I love the music from Hamilton.
What's the last one? Oh.
So
that was
fantastic.
good.
But I mean the beautiful older shows too, like Mame and all those are just great to watch and hear. And
What's the last one you saw?
Little Women maybe with Sutton Foster. Like this is a long time ago because I was working all the time, so I rarely would go to New York except to audition. Oh my gosh, I think it was Little Women. And Sutton Foster played the lead in many things, but yeah, that's what she was doing at the time.
Did you see Hamilton on Disney Plus?
No, and I'll actually give you my opinion about watching it on Disney Plus.
I watched, it was like 3.5 hours long, but I watched it.
So this is me as being an artist opinion, okay?
Okay.
So much of the arts got canceled essentially because of COVID, right?
Yeah.
So theaters are closed and movie sets were closed for a long time, and most theaters are still closed. There's a very tiny fraction that are operating.
Mm-hmm.
And so here was this huge Broadway production that set so many records and great standards for the industry that got put on Netflix for free.
Yeah.
And that there's a lot of us in the community that went, oh. But I do think it's wonderful that people who never had access before to see it had access to see it. Like kids and families who could never afford to go to New York to see Hamilton or go to the big theaters in Chicago or LA to see that show. I'm so glad that they got to experience particularly that show, because of the message and the performers that were in it. Mm-hmm. So inspiring and wonderful, and not what you have normally seen on Broadway in the last 50 years. So I was glad about that.
Yeah.
I hope nobody took the fact for granted that those performers are, like, they weren't getting paid for that. They got paid for that performance that they filmed. Mm-hmm. But anyway, that's my little, I'm going to get off my soapbox now. But he's so friggin' talented, and he writes such wonderful stuff.
He wrote that whole thing, Lin-Manuel Miranda?
Yeah, he did. And
That's
he wrote
insane.
part of it. Evidently, he was reading the biography of Hamilton and wrote part of it and actually presented it at the White House in something. You can check this fact. You're going to need to check this fact.
Well, Obama was president,
right?
Probably, yeah.
And he went and did part of it for Obama before he finished the rest of it. Or anything like that. Was just kind of presenting. Okay. That's a story that I heard. But he also did In the Heights and some other stuff, and it's all great.
So he did stuff before Hamilton?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Okay. And he's been a performer and a star for a long time.
I know he was on Curb. But I think that was after he did Hamilton.
Yeah, probably.
Curb! Oh, I've been watching that! Not recently, though.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. I guess I haven't seen it since I watched it with you.
They're apparently... Well, I think I haven't seen it since the new season came out last January? 2020?
Really? Has it been that long?
Yeah. They're filming a new season, though. And they're doing COVID. Oh, so, yes. Larry David in a COVID world.
Oh, that's going to be great.
I mean, come on.
That's so much material right there. It's got to be. The writers have got to just be salivating to get that.
I think a lot of it's improv.
Oh,
like they just go off the cuff.
Beautiful.
On a lot of that stuff. That's going to be really good.
Yeah. I'd love to see the reel that they throw out for that. Like, just they film everything and they edit. I'd like to see all the edits. What they cut on the floor.
That's going to be good.
That's so awesome.
But, I don't know, I liked watching it on Disney Plus, Hamilton.
Yeah.
But I would never have been able to see it in a, wherever, Broadway.
Yeah.
So, but I thought it was pretty good.
It's an incredible piece of work.
If you have the surround sound around you, you could feel like you're in the theater. I don't know.
It's just that live, that being able to sit there live and actually see those people doing that and singing that stuff and dancing and telling the story in 3D to me.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
Well, they were going to film that. They filmed it a couple years ago, and they were going to release it this year, I think. But they moved it up because of the COVID.
Yeah.
Like they did with The Last Dance.
The Last Dance? Why does that sound familiar?
It was the Chicago Bulls documentary.
I was not thinking that at all. What is The Last Dance?
Oh my gosh! What is The Last Dance?
Yeah, you're going to have
So
to
that's
fill me in
the
on that
whole...
one.
So, the last season for Michael Jordan with the Bulls was Phil Jackson's last year's coach. And they were planning, before the season, to blow everything up at the end of the year. Regardless if they won the championship or not, which they did.
Okay.
And so, before the season, the coach, Phil Jackson, called it The Last Dance. And so it was about the last season. But it also went back to the beginnings of Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen. And so it told their whole lives before it too. But it focused on that last season.
I love hearing the stories of young Michael Jordan and like who didn't make the basketball team and stuff.
They talk about that.
I love those.
They talk about like his first, like growing up in North Carolina, going to UNC, like first getting drafted, where the Bulls were terrible.
Yeah.
And he got drafted third. So the two teams, or the two guys who went before him, are always going to hear about that. Like, they got picked before Michael Jordan.
I mean, I guess you could put that on your resume.
So Hakeem Olajuwon was the first pick.
Okay.
So, I mean, that's pretty good.
Yeah, yeah.
I'd put if I did it again, I'd do Michael, but...
Who's the second one?
Sam Bowie.
And I'm going to say, who is that?
Who is that?
Yeah.
With the Trailblazers. So the Trailblazers are always going to hear that. Because the Trailblazers have done nothing since they had Bill Walton. Which was 70s. So... And now Bill Walton's calling Pac-12 games at 10 o'clock at night, talking about mushrooms. So,
like mushrooms to eat, or mushrooms to pick, or just mushrooms in general. Oh, fun mushrooms.
fun mushrooms. Have you heard? Well, you don't watch Pac-12 basketball.
I don't.
But like
Alexander.
at 10 o'clock Saturday nights on ESPN, like the Pac-12 game that no one cares about, Bill Walton's calling it. And you only watch it because Bill Walton's calling the game.
It's that entertaining.
You could find images online of him just random stuff, not even talking about the game.
Is it like Best in Show? Have you seen that movie?
No.
Zander. You should check the facts on that movie.
Best in Show. What's it about? It has two people from Schitt's Creek.
Yes, and it's...
That's all they meant?
It is definitely a mockumentary about the show dog industry, quote unquote.
Oh, yeah.
It's
There's a poodle.
fantastic.
It's on HBO Max!
So
Oh my gosh!
do it!
After Coming to America. And the SpongeBob movie.
Put it on your list.
And iCarly.
Xander's list. There you go.
I do actually have a list of the streaming services that have shows that I want to watch.
That doesn't surprise me. Is it in a spreadsheet or?
It's just a note.
Okay.
Like on the like for my notes for the show. Which I have none for this part of the show. This is random talk. Oh.
Which is good.
On that list I had WandaVision, which was on Disney Plus. And you said I heard bad things about that.
I did hear bad things, and then you said
You keep watching after the first 2 episodes.
right.
Because the last 2 were amazing.
Okay.
It's 9 episodes. Because, like, I remember listening to NPR when it first came out. And they were talking about, it's just this 1950s style comedy that they're doing.
Right.
Without much superpowers and stuff. And they progressed through the decades.
Okay.
To mimic, like, shows, like, in that decade.
Oh.
But then they finally get to the big stuff that happens. Well, if you like Marvel, it ties into all that Marvel stuff. So, like, Wanda Maximoff. And then so she's supposed to be in the new Doctor Strange movie. And so, they're all talking about, oh my gosh, Doctor Strange, all that stuff.
All right, well, I'll check it out and see if I agree with you. Then we can talk about it on another episode.
Of the Zander Specs podcast.
Cool.
Well, now, so Disney Plus, so now they're starting all those They've got like 10 new Star Wars shows that they're just going to be pumping out. And that's what they're doing with the Avengers, too.
What? I know none of this.
Well, they had like a whole big
This is why
thing.
I came to your show, Zander, because I need the facts. What's going on?
Star Wars shows that are coming out.
Okay,
This might be bad.
hit me.
And they had that one at the end of The Mandalorian, last episode of the season. They had the preview for
Right, yep, saw that.
one of those other ones. So the Obi-Wan show
Ooh, okay.
is coming. TBD.
Oh.
They've got Andor,
Mm-hmm.
2022. I don't know what that's about. We should get Bobby in here. He knows all
He
that
would
stuff.
know all of it. It's true.
Oh.
Yeah.
The Acolyte, TBD, Lando.
Oh, there you go, Lando.
That's Donald Glover,
Oh, nice. Okay.
TBD. Ahsoka's getting her own show,
Yeah.
TBD. Rosario Dawson's going to be in it. Rangers of the New Republic.
Oh, who's in that?
It doesn't say.
Okay.
The Book of Boba Fett. That's the one.
Oh, nice.
That's coming out in December.
Oh, is that
It's
so? That's the
expected.
first one.
I think it probably.
Yes, Boba Fett.
The Bad Batch. Oh, that's expected this year. Animated Clone Wars spinoff.
See, I'll watch any of it. I love it.
A Droid Story.
A
In-
droid story.
Introduce a new mechanical hero alongside C-3PO and R2-D2. How about
They're
that?
getting like a Three Stooges. Like they get another robot to hang out with.
I guess so.
Oh, another droid. Excuse me.
A droid, yes.
Pardon
A
me.
Droid Story. And Star Wars Visions, which is an original series of animated short films coming this year.
All right. I'm
I
in.
guess there's going to be a bunch this year. And then coming to the big screen, 2023, Star Wars Rogue Squadron. The Wonder Woman director will oversee it.
Ooh.
Inspired by the comic books and video games about Rebel Alliance pilots.
Okay. I'll watch it. I will. I
Well,
will watch
yeah.
any of this.
Well, they're going to try to have, like every week, they're going to try to have a new episode of something Star Wars or Avengers. Like now that now that WandaVision is over, they're going to try to have a new Marvel show. That's pumping out episodes every week.
Awesome.
So like it's a whole cycle,
So I won't have to think
Every
about
year.
what I'm watching. I can just turn on.
I guess. Whatever it is.
And there'll be something Star Warsy.
I guess
to
a couple are
watch.
going to come out this year.
Groovy. Sounds good to me.
I don't know. I don't
I'm
know
in.
what all the COVID stuff is going on with
Nobody
that.
knows. Nobody knows, Xander.
What are they doing? They're like having issues or...
I mean, are there any COVID facts? What do we know? It's a virus.
It's down a lot in Virginia. You said they had 3 random cases in New Zealand. Well, we're doing pretty good in Virginia. We have about 1,000 cases a day.
Oh, nice. Good for us.
But we did have like 5,000-6,000.
Yeah.
Of course, in Texas, they're saying, nobody's wearing a mask anymore.
Well, Texas is open for business.
They are.
Yeah.
Apparently, West Virginia is too, but you have to wear a mask.
Oh, I didn't know that. They're open too. They're just right over there.
This looks like a good stopping point here for the first edition for Amy Awesome on the Xander's Facts Podcast, episode 6.
6.
How about that?
That's great. You got half a dozen down.
Are you gonna? That's true. Are you gonna watch some conference tournaments this week?
Are you going to be in the house?
Yes.
Well, then I'm probably going to have to. So.
ACC, Big 12, SEC, Big 10, Pac-12, Big East, others.
Absolutely.
Then Selection Sunday. Then we're gonna fill out our brackets, and then the exclusive reveal of Xander's bracket on the Xander's Facts podcast.
Wow. I do love to listen to the rhythm of the round ball, so I'll be interested to hear that.
The rhythm of the round ball.
Listen to the rhythm of the round ball. Listen, that's basketball.
Yeah, but no one says that.
Yeah, they do.
No one
They do it when they sing. That's a song, actually.
I don't know what that means.
That's okay. It's bouncing the ball. Listen to the rhythm of the round ball.
All right, Amy Awesome. Thanks for being on the show. See you later.
Bye, Xander.
Xander's Packs.
Thanks to Amy Awesome for being on this week's edition of the Xander's Facts podcast. We had fun. We definitely had fun. And that's going to do it for this week's edition of the Xander's Facts podcast. Remember, if you haven't subscribed to the podcast, download each episode of the podcast, rate the podcast, and review the podcast if you love me so much. Plus, if you haven't listened to our previous episodes and you listened all the way through this one, I don't know what you're doing, but go listen to our previous episodes, please. We talked about all kinds of stuff. But next week's episode is going to be the biggest Sanders Facts podcast yet. I mean, my exclusive bracket reveal. You're not going to want to miss it because it's going to be the correct bracket when it's all said and done. I am sure of it. Plus, we're going to have a special guest critiquing my bracket, which I don't know about. But I'm super excited. So, thank you for listening to this week's edition of the Sanders Facts podcast. We'll see you next week.
This makes absolutely no sense.